Welcome to Managing the College Recruiting Podcast, the show where real coaches guide you through every step of the college athletic recruiting journey. I'm your host, Jeff Four, founder of Next College Athlete. Each week, we break down the recruiting process with practical tips, expert insights, and real-world stories. So if you and your family can take control, avoiding costly mistakes, and make confident decisions about your future. If you're ready to get recruited on your terms with honest advice, you're in the right place. So let's get started with today's episode. Welcome back to Next College Athlete Podcast. I'm Jeff Four, current athletic director at Missouri Baptist University and founder and director at Next College Athlete. Boy, do we have a good show for you today. We're going to dig into probably one of the most important, if not often overlooked parts of the recruiting process, and that's building your target list and really finding the right school for you. You know, whether you're just getting started or really kind of refining or kind of figuring out your options, this episode is really going to help your approach and your search. And it's going to help boost your confidence. It's going to give you a little bit of strategy and self-awareness. So let's go ahead and get started. So why your target list and why it really matters? Well, let's start with the why. You know, your target list is more than just a spreadsheet of schools. It's really your roadmap. It's a well-crafted list that's going to help you really focus your energy and your outreach as we get into the communication phase. It's going to really help you stay organized, and it's really going to allow you to avoid missing very important deadlines along this entire road, this recruiting road that you're on. And the last thing is it's really going to maximize your chance of finding a really great fit school, which is absolutely the priority. So I'll give you a little bit of example, a story. You know, I've seen athletes that have been overwhelmed by sending out mass emails to, 200 or 300 schools, hoping that, something sticks, that they're going to get the kind of response. The most successful recruits, those that are intentional, the ones that research and personalize and build relationships with schools that truly fit their academic, athletic, and personal goals, are the ones that are going to have the greatest amount of success. So what are the key factors to really consider when we get into this process of, trying to identify what our target list is or what it should be? So what do you want to look for in a school? Well, here are some of the main categories that you really want to focus on as you start to build this list. Number one is academic fit. Everybody always says that if for some reason the coach leaves, and I understand that, recruiting is all about relationships and having a relationship with the coach, and that obviously is very important, but everybody always says in finding a best fit school that you should pick a school that you would be happy at if the coach left. And so let's start with the academics side of this. So really look at it. Does the school offer your intended major or academic interests? That's really important. If you want to be an engineer, don't have schools that don't have engineering programs on your list. I mean, that just kind of makes sense. What is the average class size? And, this is really important. And again, I'll give you an example. When I was out in Arizona, before I'd moved to St. Louis to take the position here at Missouri Baptist University, big difference between Park University in Gilbert, Arizona, and an ASU. At Park, small NAI school, we would have, 15, maybe 20 not athletes, but just individuals in a class. You go to ASU and you take English 101, you're talking about 200 to 300. So that size is really going to make a difference, and you have to understand that you need to go to a place, or at least have on your target list a place that is going to be a really good fit. So the average class size is important, as well as the student to faculty ratio. Really an important aspect that you need to look at. And then what support systems are in place for athletes? Do they have an academic support system? Do they have something in place? And I think those are the questions that you definitely need to ask. Number two is athletic fit. Where do you realistically fit on the team's depth chart? If you look at, And when you start talking to coaches and you start to identify who's signed and who's been offered and, where does their class kind of put together in the number of freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, where are you going to fit on that depth chart? And it's really important, especially if you're wanting to play early on. And then what's the team's playing style and coaching philosophy? That's going to be really important. If, for instance, you're a basketball player and you like to play up-tempo, fast-paced, push the ball up and down the floor, that's where you really excel, great at creating your own shot. You're going to want to play in a system that's fast-paced, not somebody that in a system that's more set, offensive half-court sets, slow down tempo, a Virginia style. Same in like football. I mean, if you're a pass-catching tight end, the last place you want to go is to a place that hardly throws the ball. So you really want to look at the style of play and the coaching philosophy of the program. And then how competitive is the program? How competitive at the conference level, the division level? And what are their recent records? Do you want to go to a program that's successful already? Or do you want to step into a program that's rebuilding and maybe you can step in right away and play early? And that's really a personal decision that you need to really kind of look at. Number 3 is campus life and location. Do you want an urban campus, a suburban campus? Do you want a rural campus? Do you want something close to home? Are you willing to go far away? How far away from home are you willing to go? I mean, do you want to be able to come home on a weekend? Or do you have to get in an airplane every time you want to come home for a weekend? So that becomes important. Campus size and culture. Another really important aspect in this whole process is, what kind of campus size do you want? You go to an ASU. Again, I keep referring to that because it's something I'm familiar, or, an Ohio State or some big, school like that. You might have a 2-mile walk from your dorm to get to class, where it's a 2-minute walk across the entire campus at Missouri Baptist. So, how big a campus size do you want? And then really the last one of the campus life and location is housing, dining, and extracurricular activities, as well as social life. What is campus life like? Do you want to go to a campus that has sororities and fraternities, the Greek lifestyle? Do you want that? What kind of programs are offered outside of athletics? That's a really important piece that you need to look at, because that'll come down. That'll be an important factor as you kind of make the decision on what school should be on your list. Next is financial fit. What is the total cost of attendance? Where does that fit into your budget? When you look at athletic and academic scholarship availability, when we look at NCAA Division III schools, obviously there are no athletic scholarships, so we're going to rely totally on institutional and academic money, where if you go to a Division I school, a head count sport, there's going to be a full opportunity, your preferred walk-on. What is the family budget, and how does that fit into the total cost of attendance? And then athletic and academic scholarship availability is another piece. And then outside of that is this other aid. The grants. Are you eligible for work study? Is there work study possibilities? The higher level you go, if you're not getting a full scholarship, the likelihood that you're going to have the ability to work becomes really, really hard. Where at an NAIA school, most people on the individual teams, do work, and you have availability. So again, that's kind of understanding what level you can play at, and where you're going to personally kind of fit in at. Number 5 would really be personal preferences. Climate. If you come from a really snowy area in Minnesota, which is like, I've seen enough snow and cold, and I'd rather go to South Texas, or I'd rather go to Southern California, I'd rather go to Arizona, I'd rather go to Florida. So what is the climate? Distance from home is going to play into this. Do you want a religious Christian school? That's one of the things at Missouri Baptist is the only evangelical Christian school in the Midwest. Is that the kind of environment you want to be in, that Christian environment with high morals? Do you want to go to a state university? I mean, with some of the things that are going on now, you've got to ask yourself, and as a family, you've got to sit down and have those conversations about what kind of environment you want to be in, and especially around religious affiliation and then diversity. That becomes an important piece. So really, those are the 5 things that you really got to consider: academic fit, athletic fit, campus life and location, financial fit, and then it's really going to come down to kind of your personal preferences. A tip is that you really want to rank these factors in order of importance to you. I would say that no two athletes are going to have the same priorities. Is campus life a higher priority than a financial fit? You've saved plenty of money. You've got an educational account. Depending on what scholarship you get, that's not going to play into it. Do you want to go to a really winning program knowing that it's going to be maybe 2 years before you actually see the court? So you really need to rank these, and that's really going to help you in your decision process. Moving on, how to start researching schools effectively. So now that we've kind of ranked the factors of importance, or you've made a list of the things that are really important to you and put them in rank order, how do we start now really trying to figure out and research these schools effectively so we can start building this list? So there's a few things you need to know. Number one, you want to start broad. You want to take a look at NCAA, NAIA, and NJCAA. Good thing I could talk tonight. From a school perspective, you really want to start searching, looking at recruiting platforms. The recruiting platform we have, that's what's so great within our system. We have all of the colleges and universities in the country with all of that information. When we look at these factors in regards to financial fit and personal preference, campus life, it's all in there. So you want to have some research tools, or you want to have a place you can go to start to research. You can look the schools up one by one, but that can be a pretty daunting process and can take you a while. So having a system that has all of that information already pulled and readily available is great. So our recruit management system, again, besides, as we've talked about, the importance of building an online profile, having a system that not only has your profile, but gives you the ability to build that target list and has all of the information from all of the colleges, programs across the country, is going to give you a unique advantage, and we can do that. So, I encourage you, if you haven't, to jump over to nextcollegeathlete.com, take a look at our recruit management system, our RMS, and look at the features that it offers. And one of those things is the ability to do research. You're still going to want to visit school websites. So once you start to build this list, in order to take a really deep dive, you're going to want to visit the websites and take a deep dive into the athletic department, look at the facilities, take a deep dive into the academic pages, look at the rosters, the majors. You're going to want to look at the, obviously, admissions requirements and campus life. And those things that you're going to identify, and those are the things that you're definitely going to see when you get to the campus websites. You're going to want to watch the teams play. Want to watch them play. Everybody has their games online. You can go back now and even watch past games. I highly recommend. It's great to attend in person. Go on an unofficial visit. Go to a game. Call the coach. They can get you tickets. But that's really going to help you. Can you see yourself in that uniform? And how does the coach interact with the players? That's an important piece, and you need to ask yourself, does that fit into me? And is it a good fit for me? You want to look at social media. You want to follow the teams. You want to follow the coaches. What's the vibe? What are some of the things that are being posted? How do the athletes and parents, or not parents, but the athletes and staff present themselves within their social media? Are they really active? I think that's important. And then talking to current players. One of the best things you can do is talk to some of the current players, especially if you get a chance to go on an official visit. But even on an unofficial visit, if you have a chance to meet with some of the players, maybe after a game, or if the coach would invite you to a pregame shoot around, or just an opportunity to meet some of the players and just ask them about the program, that's really, really going to help you. A lot of times, too, you can reach out to the players through social media, ask the coaches for introductions, and that'll give you a really good insight of what it's like to be in that program and why it may or may not be effective. So let me give you an example. One athlete I work with, realized that after a campus visit that she wanted a smaller school with a tight-knit community, not the big state school that she had always dreamed about. So, dreaming about what the environment looks like that you'd want to be in. And then when you get in that environment to start to understand that, maybe this isn't the fit for me. Listen, that happens all the time and that's okay. So, campus visits and honest conversations can really change your perspective. And that's why it's really, really important that you go visit these campuses and you have those conversations with the coaches, with the players, to make sure that it's really going to be a good fit for you. Kind of moving on, building a balanced list, reach, match, safety, that's kind of a really, really important thing. So let's talk some strategy. A balanced list is really going to help you maximize your options and really reduce your stress as you continue to navigate and go through this process. So again, researching schools, places where you might be, lower on the end of academic or athletic standards. Example might be a top Division I program or a highly selective D1 program. So those would be what we call reach schools. I mean, those are at the top, those are upper echelon, but it's good to have them on there because it's always good to have goals, of what we would consider a reach school. You're going to want to then have a good number of what we would consider match schools where your academic and athletic profile really aligns with the team and the student body. And then you're going to want to have a list of what we call safety schools, which is places where you can really succeed at the school and are probably going to get easily admitted. You're going to be able to make the team. You're likely going to play right away. And so divided into really those three categories, I think is going to give you a good number of schools, and it's going to give you some reach schools. It's going to give you some really in the middle schools that are a good match for you, and then safety schools that we can always bounce back to, because I talk to athletes all the time and it's really the rule of thirds. And this is a perfect setup for a third. So really a third of your schools should, maybe be in that reach category, a third in the match and a third in the safety. And then out of that, you're going to start to figure out that once you dig into more on these schools, they're not going to be a fit for you. Some of them are going to fall off because of financial, because of community. I mean, there's just a number of factors. They're not going to offer you a scholarship. You're going to be a preferred walk-on. So there's a number of factors that will play into this. And having a good number of schools in each of those three categories is really, really going to help you kind of figure this out. So that's my advice from that standpoint. Now, organizing your list and starting to really track communication, because once we built our list, the communication piece is really going to be the key. So before we get started with communication, organizing that list is really create. So, you're going to want to create a spreadsheet, or you're going to want to use a recruit management platform. Our recruit management system has the ability to build your list of schools, and then you can move schools in and out. You can keep notes. And so again, having one system to manage and organize everything is really going to keep you on top of this. But in that spreadsheet recruit management system, you're going to want to have the school name, the division, the conference. You're going to want to make sure you have the coach's contact information, with notes on each of your interaction that you have. That becomes really important. So it's not just about having a list. It's about putting all the information on the list so you can easily refer to this and go back to it. Academic and athletic fit notes, application deadlines, requirements around housing, financial aid, all of those things, those deadlines are going to need to be on there. And then the last date of contact and next steps. Those are all things you're going to want to do. You're going to want to set reminders for follow-ups. You're going to want to be personalizing each of your contact. And you're definitely, when you have this communication, you're going to want to be referencing recent games, news, last conversations. You really want to show the coaches that you're serious about their program and that you're really digging in and following their program. And again, having all of this organized is really important. And I don't mean to harp on it, but we believe we've done a really good job with our recruit management system in giving you a one-stop shop to build this online profile, to build your target list of schools, have all the contact information, and then also have the communication piece, because you can share your profile out through social media, but you can also email college coaches, and then you're going to know when college coaches actually look at and open your email, it's connected to your Gmail. So again, if you want a one-stop shop for really everything, especially about what we're talking about tonight in building a target list, get over to nextcollegeathlete.com and check out our recruiting profile, our recruit management system. And there are a lot of other good management systems out there. A lot of them are pretty costly, but I just want to make sure that you have the best opportunity. This is not really about making a ton of money, because we just don't sell our recruit management system for much. It's $10 a month. And so really for what it costs to keep it up and keep it going, that's not the point. Our point is that we want to make sure every kid that wants to play in college has an opportunity to do that. So that becomes really an important piece. So once we built this list and, we've identified our reach schools and our match schools and our safety schools, now we're going to start wanting to make our first contact and really starting to personalize our outreach. So, again, once your list is set, it's time to start reaching out. It's start to move on to the next step in this process, and that's the communication piece. And so personalizing every message is going to be important. Building some templates that you can customize, especially around, referencing recent games and news and last conversations, is going to be really, really important. Make sure you're using the coach's name, and again, referencing anything about the program. Share with the coaches why you're interested in their school. That's going to be really important. And it's going to help you and the coach decide on whether you're really a good fit for the program. You're going to want to, again, include some key information, sport, position, grad year, what your academic interests are. You're going to want to highlight, and you're going to want to have available your highlight video, your movie trailers we've talked about in previous episodes, and how important that is. Being able to send links to your transcripts or send your transcripts over so we can look at initial eligibility to make sure that, you're going to be able to get through that. So that's important information. And then you're going to want to be professional. Make sure you're proofreading all of your communication that goes out, even your messages that go out on social media. Use a clear subject line and follow up if you don't hear back in a week or two. Don't just go by the wayside, because you don't understand how many emails and messages that these college coaches go. So those student athletes that are diligent and really follow up, are really professional, that's going to help you get a long ways in this communication, really in the world of recruiting. So everybody always asks me all the time, well, what do I say? I don't have any idea how to even start. So let me kind of give you what I would call a kind of a sample opening. So, it could go something simple like this, like, hey, Coach Smith, I watched your team's playoff game last month and loved the energy of your midfielders and what they brought to the game. Hey, I'm a 2026 grad midfielder. I'm on the honor roll. I'm really interested in your biology program and would love to take the next steps and maybe having a personal conversation. So that's just something really quick. You can see that you've referenced, obviously you called them by name. You've referenced that you saw their team's playoff game. You put your position in here. You put your grad year in here. You've talked about being on the honor roll. So now they know you're a really good student. And also you've referenced exactly what academic program you want to go in. In this case, it happens to be biology. So this doesn't have to be complicated, but that's just a real easy intro email that you could send to a college coach of a school on your target list. So action steps and resources. So here's what you can do this week. I want you to list your top 5 priorities. So think about the priorities that we kind of went over, the things that are really important, and I want you to make what are your priorities, and I want you to list those out of what's the most important for you. And then you want to start your target list with at least 15 to 20 schools balanced across reach, match, and safety. Like, that's a really simple task that you can do. So 15 to 20. And again, you're going to want to balance them across the 3 defined areas that we've talked about. You want to research each school. Use one of our checklists. You can get our checklists. We have it available in our course. I'm going to put them up. I haven't put our checklists up yet. I've still got our ebook up there, but I am going to put them up there on our website. So they should be up there sometime very shortly, where whether you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, we'll have the checklist that you can download, and you'll have kind of a simple step-by-step process you can go through depending on what year you are. You're going to want to start drafting a personalized outreach email template. And feel free to put it together, and feel free to send it over, and I'd be happy to read it and get back to you. info@nextcollegeathlete.com. I get emails all the time with questions. People send me example letters that they're going to do. Hey, this is what I put together. How does this sign? Listen, I'm here to help. That's why we did this. That's why I started Next College Athlete. I got sick and tired of all these recruiting services out there that, like NCSA, that want to charge $5,000 for a service that basically you can do on your own. And that's why I've done this, is to help student athletes and families manage this process effectively without spending half of your college money or half of your first year of what you would be paying out of pocket to deal with a recruiting service. So I'm here to help. We have services. We try to offer them really, really cheap because I'm not really interested in making a ton of money. I just want to be able to help families. I want to make sure if you have an opportunity to play in college that you find the best fit. So feel free to send them over, and I'd be happy to look at it. And then you want to download our free target list worksheet at nextcollegeathlete.com. So it's on there. It's a resource, and that's important. So besides the listing the top 5 priorities, I want you to figure that out. I want you to start with your target list of 15 to 20 schools across the 3 areas, reach, match, and safety. You want to start researching those schools. You want to start drafting a personalized outreach email template. And again, send it over to info@nextcollegeathlete.com. I'd be happy to take a look at it and give you recommendations or say, hey, looks really good to go. It's not that hard. And then, check back, listen to this again, kind of go through, but, check the show notes, look at the school search tools, sample emails, organizing templates. We have all of this in our course. Our 12-module course is just an expanded version of what we go over in these podcasts. And the great thing is it's lifetime access. And so you can always go back and you could always access the lessons regardless of what it is. And we've got some great examples up there. We got some great downloadable tools for you. So that's a big deal. So I've got a few listener Q&As, just a few questions that have come through the email this week that I just kind of wanted to share. And again, you're always welcome to email me, and you never know, I might answer your question on the show. So one of the first things we got this week is how do I know if I'm a good athletic fit? That is a question that comes up all the time. So number one, we've talked about in the past is it's really important to get a professional evaluation from a former or current college coach. But compare your stats and highlight film to current roster players and ask the coaches at those programs for honest feedback. Another thing you can do is you can attend camps to really see kind of where you stack up, because the chances are that some of the kids that they're heavily recruiting will be at some of those camps, and they'll be showcasing their talent. So that's a really good idea. But I think the best thing to do is to get that professional evaluation and make sure that you're targeting the right schools. So that athletic fit becomes critical in making sure you're going to a place where you can play. Another question that came through this week: what if my dream school isn't recruiting my position this year? Hey, that happens all the time. All I can say with that is stay in touch, keep them updated, but really be open to other programs. The right fit might surprise you. And it also doesn't mean that you can't eventually attend that school. I mean, we talk about the transfer portal now and how that has played into it. We're seeing kids move all the time. And the other thing, the unknown factor that we don't know is not only transfer, but just injuries. So sometimes as you go through the year and through the whole process, maybe a kid has academic struggles and, they let the young man or young lady go. So, I mean, that's another factor. So don't be discouraged by that. Be open-minded. Look at other schools because they might surprise you, but it doesn't necessarily mean that your dream school is completely off the radar. So, hey, hope you've learned a lot tonight. We went through quite a bit, and really the importance of building a target list. It is a great place to start. As important as it is to have that online profile so you have your marketing tool that you can start to get out to coaches, having that marketing engine, that online presence with video and all your information is not going to do you any good if you don't have a solid target list of schools that you've identified and that you can play at. And again, looking at those 3 schools, those reach schools, those match schools, and then those safety schools. So that's going to become really, really important. But hey, thanks for joining me tonight here at Next College Athlete Podcast. Remember, building your target list is more about getting recruited to the right school. It's about finding the place where you'll be the happiest and most successful both on and off the field. Make sure you tune in next week. We've got another great show. We're going to talk about eligibility rules and the must-knows for NCAA, NAIA, and NJCAA athletes. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time saying NJCAA tonight. But anyway, I'm Jeff Four, current athletic director at Missouri Baptist University, founder and CEO of Next College Athlete, and we want to help you be the next college athlete. We'll see you next Wednesday. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode, and send your questions for future podcasts. And reach us or check out, again, nextcollegeathlete.com. We've got a lot of resources, great options for you as a family if you're needing some extra help in recruiting. Have a great night. We'll talk to you again soon.